Hello and welcome to episode 68 of the GrowCast show. It's good to be back after taking a break for a while. And today's episode is a little bit special, it's a little bit different compared to the usual GrowCast show that we have, because I have with me in the house my close friend, a mentor of mine as well, Melvin Soh. Many of you will know who he is from X Factor Marketing, and you will probably seen his ads around. If you haven't seen his ads around, you've probably seen his clients' ads around as well. But very simple, you just Google Melvin Soh and you will know about him. So today's episode is going to be something special. It's going to be more impromptu, and I'm going to be talking to him about everything and anything to do with two things. Number one, sales, and number two, marketing. And also very, very important, this episode is especially for insurance agents, real estate agents, and service-based business owners. So that's who this episode is going to be catered for. But I'm sure even if you're not in that category, you will gain some value from it. But if you are in that category, then trust me when I say this is a must-listen episode. So without further ado, let me just get started by asking Mel, how was your 2024?
2024 was an interesting year. I think for me, as I reflect, 2024, there are a lot of new opportunities and new change, right? So new opportunities, you start to realize that the world of marketing and sales is changing. Big introduction of AI, a big dip in terms of trust and credibility in terms of influencer marketing. I think influencer marketing was set up supposedly to replace traditional marketing, and it was supposed to be more authentic. And people start to realize that the influencers appear more authentic, but all tend to, after a while, for the money and the push of purchases afterwards, tend to not be very authentic either. So you basically have the same inauthenticity, but different face. So there starts to be a wavering there. There starts to be a rise of AI. AI is interesting because AI starts to allow people to produce more things. But at the same time, when you use ChatGPT without filter, then it all sounds very ChatGPT-ish. So it's kind of interesting space also in terms of both consumer behavior, buyer behavior, also just mass consumption of a lot more content also. Attention span has dropped. However, we've seen the rise of long-form content, which is kind of interesting also. Because attention span has dropped. People have an attention span of a goldfish, but all those 3-hour podcasts, Donald Trump won the election on a 3-4 hour podcast with Joe Rogan. And they had close to 88 million, 100 million views. So much for the low attention span. So my job is in this space also, just really taking a look at this. And when it comes to financial advisors and real estate people, so it really impacts because real estate and financial people use social media in order to recruit, in order to lead gen, in order to run ads also. And these are changes that really impact the business. And also they put out some content also, etc. And of course, then working with Gen Alpha, Gen Z people that are of a very different age group, and also attracting these kind of clients also. So the world is definitely rapidly changing, and just being able to notice, guide people through those things are something that has made up my 2024.
Oh, very nice. And if we talk about realtors and insurance specifically, what are your predictions for 2025 when it comes to marketing as a real estate agent and as an insurance agent?
I think if you don't use AI, you don't integrate that as part of your follow-up sequence, you spend a lot of time doing not very useful things. I think at the same time, the fundamentals don't change, but the mechanisms and the delivery, you must use AI so you can outreach more people and put your time where it's more useful. Where I think a person should spend their time in is definitely creating content, because you don't want an AI to create content. When an AI creates content, it sounds robotish. I've seen some people play with different labs in terms of the syncing of the audio, which means the face is there, but the audio, it's just weird. I don't think we have reached a point where the AI and the voice is able to take over. So we definitely need the person, the face, the energy, the vibe over there. You use AI to create the content, to come up with ideas. They provide a script, but I think you should humanize it. So being able to hybrid work with AI, very important. But then you have to do a talking. Apart from doing a talking, you have to do a follow-up, the meeting, but you're not going to send a robot there, right? But everything else in terms of follow-up, right? Someone else should do it, or maybe someone else using AI should do it. So I think those are my predictions. But the creation of content is a must. I don't even think it's 2-5. I think in the last couple of years, anybody that has not invested in long form or short form content and think of themselves as a brand instead of an agent, if you don't do that, then you'll start to see a decline in sales rate.
I've got three thoughts over there after what you just said. So I'll come to the content part and see themselves as a brand. But I like what you said about whether AI doing the follow-up.
Yeah.
I think just before the podcast, I was telling you how I've got an AI WhatsApp that does the follow-up as soon as a lead comes in. And even as we are talking right now, my phone is over here. There's a lead that just can come in and then the AI can do the filtering and the AI can automatically fix an appointment for me. So is that what you were referring to when you say have an AI?
And I think many other kinds of follow-ups, right? I think just like auto follow-up via WhatsApp, I have seen AI agents, I saw this thing and I think it'll take over. So AI agents in Dubai that can almost simulate like appointment setting via call. And then you can abuse the AI agent and they're like real polite about it also. Like, maybe abuse a human being, not so polite. But the AI agent's like real nice about it. I'm so sorry you feel that way, sir. But anyway, like, I think those things are going to really take over appointment setting and stuff. Do I think you should trust an AI agent or AI bot to do the whole sales process? Maybe not. But I think the qualification, appointment setting, everything at the front, yes, the AI can take care of that. So you're only talking the highest and best qualified people.
The filtering of the leads.
The filtering, qualification, identification, those things also. So I think that is definitely that AI can also be used for content creation ideas, sourcing competitor ads, coming up with, a density of what are the trending topics so you know how to create content, etc. So these are things that AI can use. But what that means is that the realtors and the insurance people, the financial services people, they all need to have an AI view in mind. And I think that is going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge because if they think like an agent, I'm just here to open door, sell house, then it's going to limit you also. So several mindsets. So inevitably, we're going to talk about sales and marketing. But sooner or later, we're going to drive towards really talking about identity and mindset. So if you see yourself as an agent, then you just like think this is useless. Or you think it's not very important. I'll do it when I have time, which usually just means you never do it because you never have time. But if you see this as integral, which means I have to think of myself as a brand. I have to think of myself as a marketer. I have to use tech and AI as part of my business, integral part of my business, so that it can help whatever I do. Then you will make time and invest in these things because you see it as important. The people who have this mindset shift will thrive. The people who say, you know what, this AI thing, it's just a fad, or I'll do it when I'm free, or just whatever, I just may do a little bit of it. But largely, let's not forget we're agents. Those people will start to see a decline.
And I know, Mel, you also recently went deep into the financial services industry as well, and you've also coached a lot of top realtors as well. So what would you say separates the top realtors and top financial advisors compared to those that are not really at the top? What would you say is the differentiating factor?
I think, let's break it down. The top realtors that I speak with and the people in the real estate industry, they might not be realtors, but they have what I term market moving influence, MMI that I call it. I have some friends in the Malaysia real estate scene, probably shouldn't say his name, but he's very famous. Okay, he does have the most number of YouTube subscribers. If I say his name, everyone will know who he is. So I spoke to him over, I think Great Nasi Lemak. And he told me I only got 100+K YouTube subscribers. I said, bro,
Village Park.
Village Park. Yes, Village Park. I remember something park.
I had to get that in because that is my favorite Nasi Lemak in KL.
Something park.
Something Nasi Lemak, my favorite Singapore dish. You ask my wife, she will tell you. But I had to bring Village Park in. So yeah, shout out to Village Park.
Village Park, man. So I was there having lunch with him, and he was like, I only got a few 100K plus YouTube subs. I said, bro, no. He can sell out a new launch, 300+ unit, a few $1 million unit with a 1 or 2 video. Instead, 1 or 2 video is worth $600-700 million. I call it market moving influence, right? So these are the people that I work with, and I know also. And I think that every single one of them has invested time and energy into building a brand, into separating themselves from everybody else. Now, building a brand doesn't always mean being a YouTube influencer. Yes, it means maybe on YouTube, maybe on TikTok, maybe on other areas. Building a brand can include being able to shoot ads and being able to run that. Some even provide newsletters, but it is providing value to clients beyond the fact that I'm just from ERA or from PropNext, call my number, I'm just another agent. Because those people think of themselves as a consultant, an advisory. They come in and they have value to provide people, market analysis, market trends, here's where things are going. And so people watch their stuff and regard them not only as a brand, but as an expert. And after I regard them as an expert, they listen, they're like, hey man, I like this guy or this gal, making a lot of sense. I think they are very knowledgeable. And by the law of X factor, which means like attracts like, some people are very intellectual. Some of my clients I work with, very intellectual. I will personally, no offense, don't get angry, never watch any of the videos because it's like 40 minutes of like, oh my God, the really deep analysis. Hey, I'm not saying it's bad. I just wouldn't watch it, a bit too heavy then for me. Guess what kind of people they attract? Intellectual people. And the intellectual people come in pre-so because they've been watching 5, 10, 20 of these guys' video. When they come in, he has never met them before. So he needs to be like, hi, my name is, I don't want to say his name. But they go, oh, hey, what's up, man? And they have watched so many of his videos before. They feel like they know him. Hey, these people are just, it's the 10-step sales process. These people are already at 7. They just want to know, okay, what do you have in store for me? Just crunch the numbers. Let's go. Because they have watched themselves and in a way indoctrinated themselves from 0 to 7. It's automatic, and they watched so much of it and he was taken aback at the start, but now he's used to it.
And I think
he has a team of agents, many of whom do not want to invest in this process.
Yeah.
But they think, this look quite lame. Just show a video. Guess what? Then they, first of all, struggle to get people, and the people that come in are all at 0. So now they got to manually go and do the 7. So you ask yourself, chicken egg, and also life is fair. You want to put in a little bit of effort, invest in some cameras, shoot a 20-minute video, and have tons of people watch it and be ready at step number 7, ready to buy. Or you want to save time and don't do this silly thing. Go out there and hunt for people difficultly. Then go and start at 0 and build slowly all the way to 7. Might take days, weeks, months, and maybe get the sale, maybe not. One of these processes is a smart way to do it. And so that's what I notice as a common trend.
And I think it's a lot of people don't start is because they feel that they don't want to be an influencer. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But maybe Mel, can you share a little bit about what's the difference between a key person of influence, because like what they do. So, a key person of influence, like what I do with myself, I'd rather have 100 views of the right kind of audience than 100,000 views of the wrong kind of audience. So to me, that's what I call a key person of influence. Whereas influencer marketing is totally different, because for influencer marketing, you have to sometimes do things, to go viral, quote unquote. So from your opinion, because the reality is there are 30,000 insurance agents plus minus, there's 30,000 real estate agents plus minus. So why or what kind of content can these thousands of real estate agents and insurance agents be creating?
Then let's dive deep into the first point you said. I say, I want to correct you a little. I think you cannot be a key person of influence without some level of views. 100 will not make you a key person of influence. I say, so you do need some amount of quantity. Let's put 5,000 versus 100,000. That would be a fairer gauge. Because 100 would be too little. Like let's say you only have 10, then you're definitely not key person. And you also definitely don't have influence. Right? So there's a difference between influence and influencer. An influencer these days means somebody who's famous for being famous. They usually have popularity and they parlay it into some form of affiliate deals for brands. Whether it works or not really depends. If you want to have popularity, be a clown or take off your clothes. Best 2 ways. Or do stupid things. Harass people, you get views. Take off your clothes, hopefully, then again, depends on whether it's nice to see you. Then again, both sides, if you're not good to see or good to see, you also get views because it's not normal to do. Right? And basically be funny and do that kind of stuff. You get a lot of views. Now, does that translate to sales? Even if you have an affiliate deal. Might not, but that's a certain path. What we want to be is we want to be a key person of influence, which means we want to provide valuable content. By the time people listen, they go, wow, I like this guy, I respect this guy, he's making a lot of sense. I can't wait to learn more or be associated or meet this person, or even better, have this person transact my deal or be my agent. Wow, that's what you want. And so with that in mind, the content you should create should enlighten people down a path that they already have. Keyword already. I am interested in this launch. Not sure if it's good or bad. Your content helps me see perspectives. Now, if you go in as an influencer, which means you're clearly biased because the launch or the product has already paid you and you're spewing about that, then that's not going to be cool, because then it's very obvious that, you're skewed. But if you go in and provide perspective, fair perspective, pros and cons, that people can find valuable also, then that is something that folks can watch later on and go, wow, I never thought about that. Then they start to follow you. You start to be an expert. More importantly, you start to be a trusted expert. And that's what you want. And so therefore you transcend being an agent, you transcend to being an expert, you transcend to being a person that they look up to, a consultant, and they watch more and more of your stuff. And after a while, when they discover that you can actually help them with their transaction, you're knowledgeable, they're sold.
And I know also you've been in the marketing and sales scene for the longest time, right? And the insurance world and the real estate world, I think we were talking about it. You said you didn't know it was such huge market opportunity available. But does digital marketing really work for insurance agents and real estate agents in Singapore?
The answer is yes, if you do it correctly. I mean, that's the answer to everything. It definitely works. However, the key thing is a lot of people don't know how to use it. It works if you have a clear understanding of marketing. I can see why a lot of people feel skeptical about it. They feel skeptical because they don't understand the intricacies of marketing. And understanding the intricacies of marketing is like a whole different school by itself. Marketing, you have to understand who are the people that come in, who are the people you want, who are the people you don't want. I teach something called the 6 Ps, right? The first key is prospect. Who I want is as important as who I don't want. My ad has to attract and bring closer the people I want while simultaneously repelling and moving away the people I don't want. If your ad doesn't do that, then it has a problem. Right off the bat, you have agents on both industries who do the opposite of that. They want to make an ad as general and as inclusive as possible. That is a problem. You do not want a nightclub that is for gay, straight, and trans people because it might not be gay enough for the gay people, might not be trans enough for the trans people, might not be straight enough for the straight people. When you have a club like this, none of these people will come because they're like, whoa, this is not what I signed up for. So the more general you are, the less people you get. Because people are like, I don't really think I'm included. So they disqualify themselves. But ironically, the more clear you are about who you want, then the more the people that belong in that category can self-qualify. And the people that don't can self-disqualify, leading to more targeted. Second thing, you need to have a problem and a pain that they can identify with. Are you in this particular group facing this problem and pain? People click an ad because they usually have a query, a gap, an open loop, something they can't resolve on their own. X Factor, I call it an unsolvable problem causing unbearable pain. If I can solve my own problem, I don't need your ad. If my problem doesn't cause me a lot of pain, I don't give a shit. I probably have some problems in my life. My house might be a bit messy, causes me no pain at all. I don't care. I'm not going to seek help for that. So we need to have a problem that causes people pain that they're like, man, this is on my mind. Then you provide an alternative solution that they have never thought about before. They're like, whoa, okay, I'm in this category. I've always been having this problem. Oh, you telling me that you have that's called a promise. And they go, are you serious? A good promise evokes two emotions. One is curiosity, massively. Another is skepticism. Curiosity means like, are you sure? Like, how? Tell me. And there's a part of it like, cannot be, right? I mean, it's too good to be true, right? But that's fantastic also. Because then you provide proof and you let people know like, hey, these are the proof, and people are like, okay, now I got to know. They click. If you want to throw in an extra one, which is promise, which is why you do what you do, you throw it in. But when you have a framework like this, it makes people like, the right kind of people really step up and go, what? Okay, I want to find out more. That's what you want. Now, if you do general marketing, like, appeal to the greatest audience, have no clear problem, provide no proof, just be a general poster and brochure, and then you boost it with no right targeting of who should be included and not. Then you spend all this money, your ad is not good, the messaging is off, and then you get no leads or shit leads. Then you say marketing doesn't work. You are right. Your marketing doesn't work. It's not that marketing doesn't work.
Very nicely said. I like the 6P framework. I mean, every time I listen to it, whenever I attend X Factor, it always enlightens another part of me as well. So we'll talk a little bit about the X Factor bootcamp coming up in a short while as well. But I think don't talk about it in a short while. Since we're talking about it, can you tell us a little bit about X Factor and the X Factor bootcamp?
There are two parts I teach. One is called timely, one is called timeless. And these two parts make up good marketing. The world evolves. Jeff Bezos said, if you want to be successful in the new era, you got to know what changes. But then you have to build your whole business around what doesn't change. Marketing is exactly the same. Now everyone's jumping on the AI bandwagon. Everything is AI. Yes, true. You should evolve with AI. But you shouldn't sell your whole soul and business just for AI. Because AI is going to be another bubble and boom and bust, and it's going to be a next thing. So what should you do? Should you fully go 100% in? Should you not go in? What you should do is follow what Bezos said. Some things don't change. Whether AI, whether whatever it is, there are principles that don't change. People want things. Right people should come. We should qualify people. We should build a business as longevity based. People want a payoff. These are principles that never change. I teach those principles. Then we look at what is timely. Timely means what's working now. What is the best mechanisms and manifestations of these principles? How does it look like in an ad? How does it look like in a video? How does it look like in a community? How does it look like on Telegram and many other follow-up channels? Here's what the principles look like today for 2025. Now, the challenge about doing this bootcamp is that we always need to evolve year on year. I've done this bootcamp since 2018-19. Very different iteration back then and now because of all the different changes that happen. But the timeless principles never change. Because until human beings' DNA level, needs level evolve, which means you tell me the Maslow hierarchy of needs no longer exists. Those timeless principles will always remain. But the timeliness, oh man, they will always change. 2018-19, no ChatGPT. Not even very proliferation of content creation yet. Back then, if you did YouTube in 18, you're a bit weird. You know when it exploded? COVID. Because all the people stay at home, and I got tons of people who stay at home and normalize content creation. Because then it was like, you you serve as entertainment,
Yep.
relief for people to get through the pandemic. Then people are like, hey, after a while, everyone started watching your stuff.
Yep.
If you ask a lot of content creators, when do you start? All will say COVID time.
Yeah.
COVID. Before COVID, you were a weird person.
Yeah.
Before COVID, my former business partner Joe asked me to go on Zoom. People thought, what a weirdo. After COVID, people were like, hey, can we do Zoom? Zoom better.
Yeah.
So COVID was a game changer. And so like timeliness now, every time changes. Will the manifestations and iterations of this be different 3 years from now? Of course. And so I teach this timeless, timely. There's a couple of things that we cover.
That's great. And if we could talk a little bit more about, the factors that you just spoke about, right? Specifically to industry. So how can a real estate agent apply X factor marketing in their business?
I think first and foremost, here's how you do it. You go and take a look. So there are two kinds of agents. One is a new person with no pre-existing clients. One is a person with pre-existing clients. Let's start with pre-existing clients first. If you have pre-existing clients, the most important thing, even before you go to the AI and all that kind of thing, is really go and see. I believe everyone emits a vibe, frequency, energy. This energy attracts a certain kind of people, repels a certain kind of people. Just by people who listen to this podcast. If you listen this far, you might like my energy. Maybe some people listen and say, hey, no, I don't like the way the guy speaks. It's totally fine. Because you cannot appeal to everybody. Even the Almighty God. Some people also don't believe in God. Some people atheists. So God also cannot get universal 100% yes. So you cannot. So accept the fact you wouldn't be 100% yes. Some people like you, some people don't like you. Great. First key, what are the kind of people that like you? Really important. If you sit down and do actually a trend analysis, you might start to realize, hey, my last 20 clients seem to be this kind of people. Intellectual people, being kind of people, high education, not high education, or entrepreneurs, corporate people, law by law kind of people, a bit like, off the normal path kind of people, whatever it is. Start to find trends. What kind of age group? What kind of gender? What kind of race? What kind of type? What kind of job? You start to realize, wait a minute, there seems to be a trend. It is your trend, not everybody's trend. You see, one person can go out there to a networking event. He thought and go and find a whole bunch of people similar to him. I go to an event. I find a whole bunch of people similar to me. Why? Maybe he is a law by law person. He's here at the front row. He arrives on time. He talks to other on time people. He doesn't behave like a jackass. And, he finds a lot of people that resonate with that. That is his crowd, natural audience. I'm not saying I behave like a jackass. I might stand at the back of the room. I have unorthodox ways of being and speaking. And there are other people that are unorthodox. They also stand at the back of the room. We like one another. Then all of a sudden, those are my crowd. I start to understand, hey, this is the kind of people that resonate with me. They like me for who I am. They like me for the kind of value I provide. I start to realize, hey, maybe this is the thing I should go full into. Then I start asking myself, okay, it does seem that every time I do marketing, 100 people here seems like only this 15, 20 type of people all like my ad, like me, later engage me. Then I start to realize, okay, cool, how can I zero in on this particular market, provide them with the value they want, create the kind of content in the kind of style that these people want, and absorb as many of these kind of people as possible. You say, hey, what about the other 80? Never mind. Somebody else can deal with them, not me. That's what every single person, whether you're new or you're seasoned, that's what you should do. Move towards the place where your natural audience likes, versus trying to change yourself unsuccessfully to appeal to everybody and fail. So that's literally the highest level of filtering and qualification, where you start to realize, hey, I seem to only attract this kind of people. By the way, this is fantastic for dating, for all the single people also. You start to realize that when you put yourself out there as a man or woman, some people like it, really like it, and some people, even a fair number of people, really don't like it. You know what? We're not in the business of convincing or converting the unconverted. Let them be. I'm in the business of attracting the attracted and then converting them. So my only question is, who here likes me? Oh, right, great. Follow me. Let's come closer. Great marketing moves the interested closer, moves the uninterested further. And so everything is built around that. So as you have them raise their hand, great. They create more value, more opportunities, meet you, content, etc. So you move the interested closer, move the attracted closer. That's our job.
Makes sense. I think I love the way you are very clear about the fact that who you should attract and who you should not attract.
I want to know what kind of people, because those kind of people will like a certain style. Because people will always ask, hey, so content, I should say what kind of style? Should I wear a t-shirt? Should I wear a jacket? Should I do this and that? I'm very clear what kind of people like me. The kind of people I work with are high profile leaders. I work with some of the richest, wealthiest, most successful people here around Asia, not just in Singapore. And those people that I seem to work well with are usually people that love the job, desire mastery. Some of them like material, but don't like material, but substance first. That's why I wear a t-shirt, but they like the clarity of thought and communication I have. Now, there's some people who enjoy substance not very first, material first, the bling first. And those people and I don't usually get along. And it's cool. And it's great because I have no desire to change myself unsuccessfully to match them. There are people who would rather not put substance first, would rather put up an image and a facade, and that's more important. And they have their reasons for doing it. But I just don't seem to last very long or get along that well. I invest all my time and energy into pursuit of the substance and results and how we can actually get people there. So people hire me not because I have the nicest haircut, even though I think this is fine, short hair, I sweat a lot, or my watch, which I don't own one, or my car, which I don't own one also. Yes, I made a lot of money, but I just not important to me. But they hire me because when he comes in, he gets the job done. And he has the best techniques and strategies. And that's what they hire me for. So you can see, right? This is polarizing.
Yeah.
But it is great because now I split the room down the middle and I discover who here care about substance. Those people are like, they don't care what I wear. They are like, I love Melvin, he gets the job done. Then there are people like, doesn't matter. I don't even need to hear. Yeah. It's fine. So it is polarizing.
And I think it's because, when I've spoken to lots of the past year in 2024, I spoke to hundreds of insurance agents, real estate agents. And the number one thing, Mel, that they come to me with, right, is they say, Vicky, I want high quality leads.
Yes.
So everybody comes in, they say, I want high quality leads, whether offline, online. And what I do is I get them high quality leads from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, right? But they say they want high quality leads. But one thing they always forget is that the high quality lead also wants a high quality advisor.
Of course.
So maybe if I say it, it doesn't sound so good, but maybe if Mel say it, maybe it might sound a bit better.
Yeah.
But how do you define a high quality advisor?
Let's look at the word quality, right? Let's replace the word quality with the word value, right? Because quality is subjective. But let's use the word value. So value sounds a lot easier to understand. So what is value? First, let's determine. Who determines value? Great question. Are you are married?
Yeah.
So does your wife like flowers?
No.
No, great. So let's Valentine's Day coming.
Yeah.
You go buy her flowers.
Yeah.
Right? You buy a nicest bouquet of flowers, $1,000 bouquet. So let's pause and ask, is that value? Interesting, right? Now you might think it's value because you just paid $1,000 for it. But she might think it's treasure. Then she'll take a $1,000 bouquet and throw it right in the treasure. So who is correct? If you're going to give her flowers, she's correct. Value is determined by the consumer, not by you.
Yeah.
So that is a problem for a lot of people to understand because they always like to think, I want to provide a lot of value to people. Wait, hold on. So before you think about providing value to people, you should ask who is the person. If you provide steak to a vegan, he's going to treat it as an insult. If you provide pork to a Muslim, he's going to really treat it as an insult, even though it could be the highest quality pork. So instead of becoming high value to what you think is value, you should think, okay, cool, what is value to my client? So first of all, but then before you can think what is value to my client, you need to think who is my client, which is the conversation we just had.
Yep.
So I need to understand who is my client first. So what is this particular client looking for? I work with top leaders and people that want to be the best in the industry. What they're looking for are cutting edge strategies, clarity of thought, leadership, moves and marketing stuff for them to get to the top. They're not looking for Mel with the nicest Italian Godfather hair or the nicest, no, because I want to bring a guy in, train me, train my team to get to the very best and stay at the top. That is the value they're looking for. So therefore, as I elevate myself constantly with learning, association with such people, going to learn constantly on the move, different countries I go to, paying top dollar to go to these places, putting myself through these things, they see the value that they desire. That's why they continue to find me and engage me and want me to really train them, etc. And these are all people that are doing high 7 or 8 figures already. So that's the value that they see. Now, if I didn't understand this is the value they see, I might think, they like me for my suit or for my hair, or maybe it's because I eat Wolfgang steak for $1,000 a night. No, that's not what the value they see. Because that's the value they might enjoy in their personal life, but they don't need to see their advisor or person they look up to practice those same elements of value. That's not what they want. So very critical for us to go high quality, high value leads. They are looking for something in the advisor, in the consultant. What is that benchmark and criteria they look for? Could be intellect, could be connection, could be ability to get the best price, could be whatever it is also. Find that criteria and be that criteria. If they look for a person who is a deep strategist thinker, you got to be that person or else they're not going to hire you because that is their benchmark of value.
After speaking to so many of these advisors that I talked to you about, right? So then I put in a bit of time, energy, effort, and I thought about what exactly is a high quality lead. Because talking about a high quality advisor, I think you summed it up very well. But a high quality lead essentially is someone with money.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, if you don't have money and you're running ads on any social media platform, if they don't have money, unfortunately, you can't help them. Yeah. And they need to have intent. So they need to be at least a high in money and high in some kind of intent. But I think also just before the podcast, I told you about last time there's a thing called buyer's remorse, right? So recently there's this thing called ad click remorse. Yeah. So ad click remorse is people click on the ads and then after that in the moment they like the copy, they like the creative, the video, image or whatever. But as soon as they clicked on the ad, then they stop replying on WhatsApp. They stop picking up the calls. Yeah. Is there any advice advice that you would have for financial advisors or real estate agents, where what should they do if, a lead has opted in, they've spent time, energy, effort to spend money on marketing, right? But their leads are just not replying.
The leads are not just replying. I think there's so many diagnoses that we can take a look here. But let's take a look at what makes a high quality prospect that you mentioned just now. A high quality prospect, yes, they need to have a desire to solve a problem. They need to have money. But this is actually a very wide spectrum, because when you talk about people with money, I've gone to a lot of places where they're rich people. You tend to realize, so let's use golf as an example. Singapore Island Country Club, a lot of golfers there. Some of the golfers are young, and they're young because they also got money and intent. But their sons, second gen, third gen of rich people, they respond very differently than a self-made guy who's now 70 plus years old, retired or so. So even though both are rich with intent, age group different, desire in life different, problem and pain trying to solve different, really critical. So I mentioned this also because even though they have money and intent, you need to understand how to target and structure the ad. And so still go back to the idea of prospect. Who is the prospect? What is the problem? It might be that the targeting in the copy of the ad was not as clear, which is why they check. Really critical. And that's why. It could be that the ad is not polarizing enough to the degree that the person who the ad is for doesn't really feel like, oh my God, I need to follow through here. And that could be a reason also. It could be that and that might be a huge reason, which means the follow-up might not be as important because, maybe this person, he clicked, he's not really a target. We didn't disqualify the uninterested enough also, right? And so we had, semi-interested or semi-qualified people click it and then kind of discover I don't know if I'm super in. Now let's improve those elements first. Who is the targeting, the problem, disqualify people, be hyper laser. So now if we are hyper laser and we have people that click it, so we know, you cannot be in any doubt about what this ad is for, who is for, what pain is solved. Okay, so now then we have a problem where the person clicks already and falls out. Why? Could be, you never know where people click the ad. You never know in what state, what place, what level of toxicity or intoxication they are clicking the ad for. So now we have to go and follow up. And when we follow up, right, we must inflame pain level. That's critical first. I know we spoke about adding value to people, but we must inflame pain level. We must talk about the fact that, hey, there is this particular problem you might have wanted to solve for a while. You might not have gotten, the help, but then there's help here. So the juxtaposition between pain that they feel and a promise that's unique will get them to okay, fuck it. I need to go and respond, but I want to find out. Before you add value, people respond to pain, not to reward. People say they respond to reward, but people click an ad, and especially when the pain level hits a certain threshold. There's interest and there is pain. So let's talk about this. Yeah. People are inspired.
So maybe if I ask you that specifically, what you just mentioned, what is the difference between a lead who clicked because of interest and a lead that clicked because of pain?
A lead that clicks because of interest will read and do nothing. He will finally buy, maybe even from the same ad, when the pain level hits past interest. So let's talk about this, right? So when do people change? What a great question. Because change is a form of behavior. Yeah. So people say, hey man, people change and respond according to pain and pleasure. No, people only change because of pain, especially extreme pain. Later, I'll talk about something called EIE, where it's the only time in human history where people change. But people are inspired by pleasure. They are motivated by pleasure. So let's say my life now sucks. I see a great motivational speaker on stage. He talks about a great life. I listen to a class. I feel motivated. Will I go and change something? Maybe I'll do a little bit, but not much would change. I'm inspired. My mind is open. I won't make any drastic change. And so my life will ho-hum just a bit, maybe some small changes, not much. But let's say something major happens. A doctor comes and says, hey man, you got 8 months left to live. Or my wife says, hey man, you're a bum, so I'll leave you. Or something happens. Or I hit a certain threshold where I lose my house. Now I have no choice but to change. Now I get my shit together and I'm like, you know what? I cannot continue like this. Some people have alcohol problem. Some people have a drug problem. Some people have addiction problem. They ho-hum it, they know they should, but nothing changes until they hit rock bottom. Some people change alcohol because their girlfriend or wife leaves them, or they get arrested, or they knock somebody down, or whatever. They behave in such a way they're so deplorable, they say, I cannot, I think I have a problem. I cannot continue like this. That day is called EIE. Enough is enough. Jim Rohn calls it the day that turns your life around. Jim Rohn is Tony Robbins' mentor. Jim Rohn talks about the day a Girl Scout comes to his house. He asks the Girl Scout is there, knocks on his door, asks him for $2 to buy a cookie. Jim Rohn is so broke, he doesn't have $2. He lies to the Girl Scout and said, hey, we already have cookies. The girl said, oh, cool, thank you, Mr. Rohn, and leaves. Jim Rohn closes the door and he's like, oh my God, I just lied to a Girl Scout. And I lied because I'm so broke, I don't have $2. And he's like, you know what? I don't want to live like this anymore. That moment is called EIE. Enough is enough. When a person hits enough is enough, where they're like, you know what? Today's the day. We need to make some change in this place. That's the day they buy. Until then, they're inspired. They're interested. They are pleasured. It's quite interesting. There's an open tab on their 100 tabs. But what pushes the itch? Pain. Cannot wait. I need to solve this today. That's the day they buy. So you just got to run the ad till the day they hit that point.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in that situation.
Yeah.
I got tons of tabs open in my phone. I got things that I save and say I want to watch and be involved in. But every day we need to prioritize, you know. And so what does pain do? Why is pain so great? You know why pain is so important? Because pain helps you put whatever is important front and center. So right now, I'm having a bit of like stomach pain. Or let me tell you, if you ever had a stomach ache, you had a sprained ankle, you injured your knee or your back before, you ain't thinking about anything else apart from that pain. That pain is like front and center. That's why pain helps you focus. When you have pain in one area of your life, you don't think about anything else except solving that pain. When a person's in that state, oh man, they are very good customer. They buy real quick. So pain gets people to take immediate action.
Is there, from your experience, Mel, having coached so many entrepreneurs, real estate, insurance agents as well, is there any questions that an agent or an advisor can be asking leads, right, to make them think or make them reflect or induce pain in that sense?
Depends whether you are doing a follow-up or whether you are doing live in front of the person. If you are doing a follow-up, you can tell stories that mirror their pain that they go through also. And I want to tell you a story and that will be an automatic follow-up, right? That's called metaphorical persuasion. Metaphorical persuasion or story persuasion is simply the telling of a scenario similar to one where they go through. In listening to their story, they relive their own pain.
Yep.
Sometimes we have to do that in order to get people to understand the pain, which is what brought them there and why it's important to take action. If you're in front of the person, you can do questioning.
Yeah.
You know, what brought you here today? How long have you had this pain? What has it cost you? What else has it cost you? How long more do you want to stay here? And then there's other kinds of pain where the pain of the immediate costs you have. So let's say you drink a lot, alcohol. You can say, hey man, so we got financial costs. Then we got health costs. Then we got emotional costs also. Then on top of that, in doing this, what have you not done? So watch out, you spend money, you spend time, your body hurts, you know, you have quarrels, etc. Great. What have you also missed out on in drinking 5-6 hours on a weekend? You missed out on hanging out with your wife. You missed out on your kids' time. You missed out on all the things you could have done. So let's put it side by side. There's a price you pay. And there's an invisible price that you already pay by doing this dumb shit and the good things that you didn't do.
Yep.
So now it's a dualistic price. Then we just say, okay, for how many years have you done this? Oh, for this amount of time. Okay. So like this price. Now if you go to a price tag here, how much would it be? Ooh, now it's hefty. Or like, dang, just ask you. Then here's the most painful question. I ask you a question. If we continue down the line, what do you think will happen in 2 or 3 years? Do you like that place that you'll be? Now we have a lot of pain. Now the person say, man, hey, if I continue doing this, shit, man, I'll be out of shape. I think I may have severe crisis. You miss a bit more of your girlfriend or wife's time and the kids' time. I have a lot of regret. Maybe your kids don't like you already. Maybe your wife also don't want to be around. I say, hey, man, hey, remember you saying this or not me? You like this. Just say, so what do you want to do? So what are we talking here? I mean, you can continue, it's fine. But I'm here if you want to make change. So what's it going to be?
So the costs associated with the
But it's not just me talking about, hey man, Vicky, you should change, huh? You should
Yeah.
change. No, I just like, I ask you questions like, what do you think? Like, where do you like where you're going to be? How will you feel? You know, future, feeling, finance,
Yeah.
family. You think about it and like, oh man, yeah, I don't quite like it. I say, hey.
No, and I think Mel, the fact that if you listen to whatever Mel said, right, you must understand that for me, the reason whenever I speak to you, I just feel that is your superpower. The fact that how you question and you question in such an authentic, genuine way, and I think that is one of your superpowers. That's why all these high level people, when you meet them, the way you question them in that authentic and genuine manner is why they can relate to you and why they don't care about the blinks or the watches or the...
I suspect it's also because I've done a lot of dumb things before. So I completely understand the cost that has been paid. You know, so I think sometimes the answer might be to have a very rich life. If rich means you've done a lot of stupid shit before. And so like, you know, I can really identify with that. So as I help people, I know the cost of some of the poor things and decisions that I made before. And so when I ask that, it really helps them dive layers of a lot deeper layers of depth into thinking about, wow, what is this really costing me? What am I paying? What am I giving up? Do I want to continue like this? That's when they decide to make a change. You know, so it's not just pain, because a lot of people just say, hey man, hey, you see you're getting a bit of weight. You see your girlfriend's quarreling with you. You know, you should make a change. No, that's layer 1. I go down like 10 layers. I go down to a person where they start thinking like, oh man, I don't really like the future. Then I just ask like, you know, so what's it going to be? Because if we stay on this line, that that is inevitable. Like, it's like we see that this car is about to drive off a cliff and we just keep going.
And I think, like what you said, you go down 10 layers, Mel. I think it's because you are comfortable asking that question.
Yes.
And a lot of times,
Yes.
the advisors themselves are not comfortable asking that question or finding out the answers to those questions.
Yes.
And that's what sales is all about, right?
Yes. And you must be willing to go there. It's not inflicting pain. It is about getting people to a point where they want to change. I have an understanding that people change when there's enough pain. And I'm not doing it to them to be a sadist or to torture them. But I am doing it because if they have enough pain, then they themselves on deep level wish to change. Mm-hmm. And that's critical.
Makes sense. And if I could just end off today's session with 2025 in mind. We're shooting this early in January 2025. And I want to ask you, especially for the target audience that we created this episode for real estate agents and insurance agents, right? What is the number one piece of marketing and sales advice that you would have for them to thrive in 2025?
I say go back to right at the very beginning also. So I give you two pieces of advice. One, what not to do, and one to do. In line with our duality of our whole conversation here, which is attract and disqualify simultaneously. I'll tell you what not to do. It's time to, and it's not even marketing advice. I'll give you a mindset advice because the marketing follows the mindset first. But the mindset follows the identity first. Most important advice, stop thinking of yourself as an agent. Really critical. You're not an agent. You're not one of another person in the company. It is challenging because there are training programs that aim to duplicate individual people, send them out there like soldiers, like Iron Man, like machines. I get it. From a company standpoint, it is good to have everyone go out there and do really systematic, structured things, because why the company spreads the risk out, right? It's 300 people out there, they all start behaving and talking the same way, high chance it leads to a certain results. It's kind of like McDonald's franchising of workers. Totally get it. But it wouldn't work for you well if you are just another person in a uniform. What will work for you well is, yes, you go through the training, but you start thinking, how can I stand out and build a brand? Because I tell you already, it's ironic and sometimes funny, might even controversial. The people who create the standard training program don't follow that. They build brand. So sometimes you got to be in a place where you think, should I follow what this person teaches? Or what should I follow what this person does? Because this person teaches me to go out there and do all these traditional things and follow the script while simultaneously not doing any of it and building a brand. And maybe that's why they're successful. So, very controversial, I might tell you, don't think of yourself as an agent. You might have to defy some of the things that you're taught. Look at what the top people are doing, not just what they're teaching you. All of them are building a brand. All of them using AI and many other ways to integrate follow-ups. Look at what successful people do, not just what they say they do, because it is what they do that gets them the results. If you see that this guy is getting a lot of sales, a lot of traction because he's shooting this content and then do as he does, not as he say he does. Very important. If you do that, you'll be okay. Because if you're smart enough to go, instead of watching the video about how he thinks he is doing that, you just watch what he does. I've noticed so many creators who tell you, hey man, this creator life is really chill. Work their asses off nonstop. I say, after a while, I'm like, I'm never going to copy what this guy does, not what it says he does. If you do that, you'll be fine.
And I think that's part, I love exactly what you said, because recently I've been having a little bit of success in the real estate and insurance market. And the reason why I feel I've been having that success is when they sit in front of me, I tell them, hey, you are here today because I do the actual thing like what you just said. I filter the shit out of all my leads. I said, the fact, welcome, congratulations for making it here today. They in my office, they said, why? Because I said, not many people make it over here because I make you jump through so many loops. I hope you don't mind. But the fact that you made it here is the fact that you're amazing. But by the way, I assume you are here because you have got money and you've got intent to solve the problem. Then they say yes, they already pre-sell themselves already. And I say, would you like it if we create the same process that got you here today? We got your leads in the same process. They say yes. Then I say, when you work with me, look at what I do and instead of what I say, because those are the kind of the marketing that works. Because trust me when I say that in Singapore right now, especially in the Singapore market, there are so many digital marketers and whose fault is it, by the way, that there are so many digital marketers? Because any Tom, Dick or Harry can go to a Skills Future course. They can get certified as a digital marketer, and then they charge $300, $500 a month on a retainer basis because they're doing it as a part-time, and then they can run some ads for you. But that is not what marketing is all about. That is not what X Factor is all about.
They have the technique to run the ads, but the principles are not there. So in essence, even though they seem like they are cheap for a retainer, they are burning your money also. So remember, it's not how much you spend, it's how much you get back. Everybody give me $1 million, bucks if I can give you 2 million back, but if you just throw in a 2,000 bucks but get nothing back, that's 2,000 too much, so they might say, oh man, this guy real cheap, man, he's 400 bucks, and then you only spend 2,000, 2.4 only. Bro, like ask yourself, how much are you getting back? If you're getting zero, then you might as well take the 2.4, donate charity. At least they send you a thank you. So I think it's really important, and you're right. And a lot of digital marketers don't understand the principles. Principles are hard. They're not easy. You really need to go through, you master, and you learn. If there's somebody like yourself, that's great. You got somebody who will do it for them, build it out for them. That's amazing. But you see, to find you requires the mindset shift first. But before the mindset, they have to see themselves different. So otherwise, say, hey, what's all this funnel kind of? That's not what the traditional. Then you'll be resistant.
Yeah.
So first, identity need to change. Identity change and mindset change. Mindset change and marketing and the method and the approach changes. So all these are the things that need to happen.
Makes sense. And I think it was a wonderful conversation. I learned myself so much, and I hope it was amazing for the audience as well. I do want to make sure that we do a shout out for X Factor Bootcamp that's coming up in 2025. So Mel, tell us a bit more how, if somebody wants to find out a little bit more about X Factor and find out a bit more about you, how can they get in touch?
No problem. I think the best, most evergreen way to stay in touch with me, first of all, like if you want to read my story, go to Google, type Melvin Soh, melvinsoh.com. You can read my entire story there. Next one, most evergreen method, follow me on Facebook, Melvin Soh. Just find the guy that looks most like me. Or you can visit my IG at The Great Melvin Soh. And inside, on my stories, on all of these places, you can either join the email list, look at my stories, look at the Telegram channels. I put it all in my bio also. And from there, we'll update you constantly about the classes, the kind of gatherings and things that I do. So I think that would be the best place for us to stay in touch first. Then from there, you get to know some of the events that I do also.
Perfect. And that was episode 68 of the GrowCast show. And thank you so much for listening in. And I hope to have a lot more of this impromptu episodes in 25. And I look forward to adding more value to all of you as well. Thanks, Mel, for coming down.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Okay,
and
guys.
Talk to you all real soon. Cheers. Take care and bye-bye.